bless you all. Let you all open all your three eyes and manifest the powers of Mahasadashiva. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nityananda.
So, hello everybody, welcome. My name is Dr. Peter Bloomfield, and I'm the convener for this presentation. The title of our presentation is Methodologies and Strategies for Sustainable Mental Health.
Recording in progress.
Body approach. Again, my name is Peter Bloomfield, and I'm an emergency physician. I'm based out of Los Angeles. I work in academia, and I work in the community as an emergency physician, and I'm also here representing KAILASA Nityananda Hindu University. And we're very excited to give this presentation. If anyone has questions, you're free to ask in the chat. Just our time is a little bit tight, so if we're not able to get to your questions, we really strongly invite you to contact us afterwards. We're very excited about what we're talking about and what we're going to be presenting, and we're very happy to interact further. So this is the agenda of our presentation. We're going to have Dr. Muktananda, who's an AI expert, is going to give an intro to mental health. Followed by that, I'm going to be giving a talk on studies that have been done on a mind-body approach to mental health. This is connected to and run through Nityananda Hindu University, and I think it's really groundbreaking, and I'm super excited to talk about it. Then Muktananda is going to give an unclutching meditation, which is, this presentation is going to be part lecture and part experiential as well. So you should come out of here both informed and very blissfully relaxed. That will be our goal. If we achieve that, we've met our goals. Then Dr. Aranke, who's a practicing neurologist, who's connected with the Chandeshwara Paramashiva Hindu Temple in Houston, and Dr. Sandeep Pendov, who's a hospitalist connected with Johns Hopkins, Howard County, and Dr. Nirmala Shivaji, who's a practicing anesthesiologist, who's connected with Nityananda Meditation Academy, are going to be giving a talk on neuroscientific approach to mental health, and then a discussion about some lifestyle aspects that support positive mental health and higher consciousness. Then we're going to have another experience of pranayama, like a breathing, and then finally I'll give a conclusion and a call to action. And for everyone who is able to stay, we're going to have a kriya, which is a technique for stress reduction. That'll be really nice. So it should be a very enriching and enlightening experience for everyone. And we're very happy to have you here. We're organizing this and for having us here. Just a couple estimates, 2.5 to 5 trillion US dollars annual cost of mental health. That's looking at direct costs of clinical care and hospitalization, as well as indirect costs of lost work. And I'm going to posit that the cost of less than optimal mental health is so much higher in terms of lost potential.
mental health webpage. Essentially, mental health is a state of well-being where we are able to cope with life's daily challenges, have great relationships on a daily, regular basis, learn to work well, one of the greatest challenges of our time. Close to 1 billion people are affected worldwide, and this is from 2019. And all of you know that COVID only made this problem much worse. And today's estimates are probably a quarter to a third higher than what we saw in 2019. WHO predicts that half of everyone in the world at some point before they reach the age of 75 will experience mental health issues. And that is a huge number, right? That goes into the billions. What this session is about. I think that traditional approaches have to be sustained with holistic approaches, which are not usually identified or addressed. So in that sense, we not only treat mental health, but also enhance mental health ahead of time and then prevent it from happening. This is far cheaper, more effective, and more sustainable. Instead of just handling emotions, we should handle the source of emotions, address the mind-body system as a whole. And Dr. Peter is going to talk about have an entire session. So anytime you feel any of these negative emotions, you're probably experiencing incompletion. And of course, completion is a mental state where we do not have these incompletions. It gives us more freedom, more empowerment in the present moment so that we can reach our full potential in the future. A key part of this is having powerful cognitions, which are deep insights about yourself and the world that help you unlock your true potential by breaking free from limiting patterns. Let's look at this a little bit more in the next slide. So next slide, please. See, powerful cognitions go beyond positive thinking. They go towards transforming our cycle. But very honestly, we are capable of extraordinary achievements. In fact, if you look at the scriptures, like the science of enlightenment as a scripture, there is one part which is like talks about.
And this is a university that is styled after the ancient Vedic, ancient Hindu universities from antiquity. Fields of psychology, philosophy, medicine, sociology. Of course, mental health is covered very widely. And from that space, he has reestablished the United States of KAILASA, which is a Hindu civilizational nation in service to Hinduism. It also has sovereign land as a sovereign state, also functions as a civilizational state, is schooling. And then he's literally millions and millions of followers, over 1 million letters of commendation and recognition from political leaders, religious leaders, and is a very, very indescribably remarkable figure. And through this talk, I'll be referring to Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, sometimes as Swamiji, which is a way that we refer to him, which is an address of tremendous respect and tremendous affection because of the positivity he's brought to our life. So some of the research is done with him, and I'll be describing him that way there. And brain and consciousness of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, who I also call as Swamiji, as well as some of his disciples, and some really remarkable findings that help explain how we've been able to create these profound cellular, the ones I'm going to highlight here are the pro-inflammatory pathways, which create inflammation in the system, which will, at the cellular level, be inflammation, but at the system-wide level will show up as stress and disease. Many of these pro-inflammatory pathways were down-regulated. And when I say down-regulated, it means like 2 to 7-fold in reduction of the proteins, of the gene products. And then the anti-inflammatory pathways that reduce stress and reduce inflammation were up-regulated, again, 2 to 7-fold. And then there were 2 specific pathways that they noted. One is an anti-aging pathway called GATA2 and BM1 that was up-regulated, which shows up in a follow-up, like the aging system of the cells at the DNA level. When the telomeres in the chromosomes and the DNA get short, then the cell can no longer reproduce and becomes senescent or becomes no longer effective. So maintaining the telomeres long is a job of telomerase. So people who did this program, their levels at the end versus the beginning were pretty universally elevated. About half of them, it was double, and about a quarter of them, almost a third, were triple. So a huge increase and telomerase activity, which we would expect to keep them young at a cellular level. Combine that with anti-aging, rejuvenation, and then reduction in stress. Now we looked at how does that show up at the level of a person's mental health. So this was a study that was done a couple years ago, and it's being put into manuscript right now. There was another mind-body therapeutic program. This was called Parameshivoham, and we'll show you at the end. It is available now. But again, it's completely organized and run and attended by our Swamiji, mind-body approach to life. But afterwards, it dropped all the way to 6.1. Average is 18 to 6.1, a huge difference. And for the depression score, anything above 10 means depression. 5.7 is the average. For this, the close scores were 2, 2.7, so much lower than average and very far from depression. So this is going to show up as a really great state of well-being. And for example, one population we looked at in research was women in infertility. The score is about 53. In many, it'll vary around the world, but many populations will be around 50 or so. In our participants, they started around 60, and then went up to around 80 afterwards. So 80 is a huge sense of well-being, extremely high sense of well-being. Really profound. And you can see again, if you look at the line graph and the bar graphs, everything's just going up. So really a profound sense of well-being. They started off at 4.29 or 4.25, so almost at the level of a Zen meditator at the beginning. And again, this may reflect some people were already involved with this lifestyle, which supports a sense of mindfulness. But at the end, it went all the way up to 4.8, 4.65. So a huge jump. The paired analysis just missed statistical significance. The p-value is 0.51. The trend, I think, speaks for itself, but the unpaired analysis was statistically significant. So again, we see an increase in mindfulness. So then the question becomes, what are these programs? What is special about these programs that's bringing these really remarkable changes at the cellular level? Particularly the mitochondrial assay, you'll never see anything like that. And all the other changes, the stem cells, the telomerase activity, the gene expression, and then these changes in mental health. So to better understand that, a lot of science has been done. The Akira from Sound Health Designs in Wichita, and this was in 2005 and 2006. And they measured studied a variable called heart rate variability, which shows variability within the heart rate that reflects the autonomic system and how at ease someone is. You could say it's very complex. We don't have time to go into it further. But the key finding is when he would do healing on someone, they would completely sync up their heart rate variability. Means a complete cohesion and entrainment was happening. So he could completely kind of shut off the mind, and it would show up at the EEG level. That shocked the researcher. And then when he would go into meditation, there would be a huge surge in gamma waves, which we'll talk about shortly, the significance of gamma waves. But the key part is when he was healing, that's a goal of Vedic traditions, yogic traditions, Hinduism, and they transmit it to someone they're healing or a disciple or any other person, be like an initiation. It's putting them in the same brainwave state that's going to have profound effects on their well-being, like the things that we demonstrated earlier. So he was able to transmit it to people he was healing. Some quotes, it said from Dr. Collins that he couldn't believe that he said there's no such thing as normal for you. He couldn't believe that his baseline level of meditation. He is doing initiations to his disciples or people visiting his ashram as well. He puts their brain in gamma waves, high amplitude gamma waves, which is a very specific kind of gamma wave that's almost never seen. So real quick primer on brainwaves. Brainwaves is if you're like taking a quiz, doing a task, if you're at work doing a task that requires your mental activity, it's 13 to 25 hertz. So you'll notice this illustration doesn't have gamma waves. Part of that is because gamma waves, people didn't even know about them until relatively recently because you normally cannot see them on a normal EEG. They were normally detected with something called a QEEG, where you take a computer and look at the raw data and see tiny little, very, very low amplitude up and down high frequency waves that you can't really see with your naked eye, but the computer level of dementia start to get cleaned up. So the idea is that gamma activity can prevent and possibly even treat Alzheimer's dementia. So if we're looking at Alzheimer's, prevention, which is a huge global issue. Gamma waves, I think, are definitely something to look at, and they're currently working on devices using sound and light to sort of reverse engineer that state. We would posit that our Swamiji can himself go into gamma at will, and he can transmit it to others at will, both through healing and through initiation. That itself is remarkable, and it speaks to the power of the programs and how the mental health of whole communities can be uplifted that way. What is even more exciting to me, and I've been personally had the opportunity to do EEGs, some of his very high level disciples developing this capacity, which means this level, which we're positing as a space of super consciousness, very high level of consciousness that correlates with concepts of enlightenment that have been talked about throughout history. This level, this capacity are yogic shaktis that are beyond the scope of this presentation. But while doing these things, they'll describe a very low TPS, which again, TPS is thoughts per second, means completely quiet mind. And their whole sense of space will be just completely spacious and untouched. So we're really excited about this. I think it has tremendous significance for humanity on many levels. And we're excited to research it further. So we'll be sattvic diet and fasting later. Another presentation is going to talk about these things. Detoxing with herbs. Puja is a ritualistic connection to higher consciousness. Yoga pada, yoga and pranayamas and meditations and kriyas. We'll be doing all of these experiential in this presentation. And then knowing pursuit of powerful cognitions means knowing yourself as a very powerful.
Dr. Peter, what I wanted to say here is that Dr. Bloomfield talked so much about the state of space where you have fewer and fewer thoughts. That's fewer thoughts per second. And he showed quite a few brain scans which actually denote that kind of a state, right? So there is a meditation. We just wanted to, Peter.
Sorry, let me get back there. 1 second. It should be audible now.
Maintain, fight with, try to destroy, anyway engage, do not do anything with your internal thought process. Just and you will sit with yourself in a very matured way, highly matured way. Sit with yourself with highest creating, maintaining, destroying, fighting, engaging, all thought process.
When any thought arises, I just say unclutch, which means I disengage from associating with that thought. Typically, our thought currents are one follow the other. First, I think about my house. I'm thinking about my dog in my house, and then the food the dog didn't eat, and so on and so forth. So it's an association of thoughts that creates problem. So if you unclutch from each thought as they appear, then you don't associate them, and then they just become random series of thoughts which don't affect you. That's the whole idea. So initially you can. So are you sharing the audio from your output from your computer?
Yeah.
While sharing video? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. Maybe I'll turn up the volume. Are you able to hear it now?
Close your eyes and unclutch from your thoughts. visible to you. Sometimes the blood pumping through your heart becomes more audible to you. Unclutch from those also. So there is as you hear things, those are also thoughts. They're triggering thoughts inside of you. So next time, just keep unclutching deeper and deeper, and you'll see this deep sense of silence coming in. So it's a great technique. You can try it anytime. There's no specific time or place where you should do this. You can do it anytime. With that, I'll invite Dr. Aranke and Dr. Sandeep and Dr. Nirmala to take us on to the next session. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Aranke. I'm a practicing neurologist in the U.S. In Augusta, Georgia. And, kind of quantified the mood based on validated scales, looking at anxiety and depression. We have seen that yoga and meditation has a positive effect, but recently we're able to actually look at the brain structure itself and brain functioning and how it can make a huge impact, and it could reduce the costs associated with current treatment model based on medications, therapy, which is expensive, medications have side effects. And so we can go on to the next slide. So many studies have been done on depression, looking actually at is the gray matter or the brain cells, are they affected in depression? But also very importantly, the white matter system is affected. The white matter is very important in, this is how different areas of brain communicate. And you can see here, when there's specialized studies done on white matter tracts, these are negatively impacted in depression. And the colored portions of the brain, social cognition, which lead us to interact well with others. The presental and parahippocampal gyrus and hippocampus are very important for memory and handling your stress. These are enhanced in practitioners of yoga. Areas like the insula, superior temporal gyrus, occipital gyrus, and cerebellum are important for emotional awareness, processing of language and speech, as well as empathy. So being able to empathize with others and fear pathways. This is sometimes called it's a important part of our very primitive brain, which is there to protect us, but can become dysfunctional when we have emotional trauma and different sorts of mental disorders. And in fact, this area, interestingly, it ends up being a little bit reduced in volume, telling us that maybe yoga practitioners have lower levels of fear or tendency for fear. And we can move on to the next slide. As it's activated, is an important brain chemical called glutamate is released. And this then sends a signal to another part of the brain called the hypothalamus to release beta endorphins. Maybe you've heard about endorphins. These are chemicals which give us the sense of a euphoria or bliss, and may explain why many practitioners of meditation experience a sense of bliss during their meditation. Also, imaging studies have looked at the thickness of the cortex. This contains the brain cells or neurons, and it turns out these are thicker in various brain regions listed there. These are regions that are important for emotions, decision-making, learning, and memory, and also the ability to monitor ourselves, to know what's happening within us and our environment, and as well as having self-awareness about fear and anxiety released at the time that we're stressed out. You may have heard of the flight or fight response, and so this is released. And unfortunately, what this does also is this leads to a cascade of other events in the body, including more inflammation, which ends up increasing risk for various health problems that we see today, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. There was a very interesting study they took up people who were depressed and put through a 12-week program of yoga. And they measured their amount of anxiety and depression before and after.
For the input. Basically, the gut-brain axis is a very important axis. These days, there's a buzzword, healthy gut microbiome. So before we talk about that, we should know what gut-brain axis is. So basically the brain is connected to the gut by a vagus nerve. So what it means is what happens in the gut affects what happens in the brain. So the next question comes is, how can we impact the gut enough, fuse the healthy bacteria to grow maximally? So when that happens, it produces neurochemicals like serotonin. So these send signal via the vagus nerve to the brain, so reducing the anxiety and depression. So this is one impact. And the second impact it does is that it improves the bowel movements. So basically what it does is, since it is high in fiber, so people get relief from constipation and the whole food plant-based diet. The next.
Well, you can go very quickly over this, Pandav. I believe we have a video and then a discussion, so you can go very quickly.
Oh. Are we waiting?
So if you consume them, if you consume plants, vegetables, there is no pain going inside your system along with it. There is no biomemory going inside. Pure energy food, only that goes inside. But with the animal, the muscles have a capacity to store muscle memory, and the muscle memory, biomemory recorded in it, that becomes part of you. You become prone to that pain. You become prone to that pain. That's the reason I request you to be a vegetarian.
Okay, now we'll have a very quick summary and very brief discussion about some of these lifestyle choices that support healthy gut biome and improve mental health.
So in other words, reaching our full potential, mind, body, and consciousness. So I'd just like to open up the discussion now to also Dr. Pandav and Dr. Nirmala Shivaji. And maybe we can discuss how the Hindu lifestyle practices that Swamiji is promoting have a
liquid diet is almost like pre-digested. So your body doesn't use energy to digest it. So it brings your energy level up, and it has effects at physical plane, mental plane, emotional plane, spiritual plane. That's what I found. So the least is, you lose weight, and but other than that, so emotionally you feel much better, you feel much lighter, your energy level goes through the roof, and the last, your meditation deepens like amazingly.
Day or two, it actually was not difficult to sustain. And definitely the mind was quieter. People around me noticed. I mean, even your skin will start to glow. You'll even appear younger. People would comment on that, wonder what I was doing. And so I definitely also experienced those.
Every summer, allergic reactions. So when I go to the garden, even the lawn, I'm really very bad allergy. So I had to take antihistamine all the time. And it actually affected my work style as well. So it was, I think, about 12 years ago, Swamiji introduced the Nirahara Samyama, 12, 13 years ago. The first time I did the Nirahara Samyama, after that, it's completely gone. I don't take any antihistamines. I'm complete.
Has recommended for us. And then Nitya Yoga is a yoga that conceived by Swamiji that has 12 components, 12 aspects of yoga, which is very unique. And of course, other yogas are also part of this lifestyle. And so thank you so much, you guys, for this discussion. We could discuss so much longer. We've met some time constraints. So we're going to move on to the next session, which is a pranayama breathing exercise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And roll your tongue and just put it outside of your mouth just a little bit. And you will actually feel it in your chest, in the middle of your chest. If you don't feel it, like breathing in a little bit more deeper. Continue doing this It's very simple. It's breathing in through one nostril and breathing out through the other nostril. So you start off by holding your thumb, pressing your right nostril with your thumb, and then breathing in through only your left nostril. 7, 8, 9, 10. Now breathe in through your right nostril again. And breathe out for the count of 10 through your left. The last technique is called Brahmari Pranayama. It's an amazing technique to clear your mind of anxiety-inducing thoughts. And Swamiji has given this reference. And this reference, you can go search for it online. It's a humming meditation. Essentially, what you do is you hum. Soon you will see that the hum is one continuous hum. You hardly notice the difference between one hum and the next. And you will start feeling in the center of your forehead, you will start feeling a constant buzz. And that buzz will start clearing out all the thoughts in your mind. Right? It's a very beautiful technique that just flushes negative thoughts and anxiety from your head and just fills it with the hum that is pure thought, nothing else, right? Let's try doing this for a few times. Entire head, your chest, your body will start humming along with you like this. This humming is a very intense exercise. Great. So these are things you can practice pretty much anywhere. And these are all revived by Swamiji. Swamiji has taken all these ancient techniques and then put them in modern AI. I have practiced AI for a very long time, and I've applied AI to multiple different domains. And most recently, I've applied AI to education. And AI is an amazing area with such resources. At least one thing that everyone needs, like people need a spiritual solution for mental health. And if you think about it, an everyday companion, which is easily available at their fingertips to handle emotions on a daily basis, but maybe even answer bigger personalized without storing personal information. And if you have availability, like access to a phone, a smartphone, you probably can get access to these services. It can be as easy as accessing mail or WhatsApp, for example, to ask questions and get answers. It's very easy. Go to nityananda.ai, or you can use the barcode that's available on the screen. And it's a great, you have to sign in for you to get access, but it's an amazing resource that is available to everyone. This uses the entire spiritual resources of the world, especially the teachings of Swamiji. Swamiji is essentially teaching the fundamentals of enlightenment science, or the science of happiness, as taught by Hinduism. So this Nityananda.ai has the entire access for living, like authenticity. Authenticity is living to the highest potential. Responsibility is feeling like everything in and around you is under your control. Being integrated is all about being integrated to your thoughts and actions. Enriching is about making sure others are in this state of enlightenment along with you. And completion is what I define. I'm just highlighting the different areas. The next question about someone saying, my sister and I are grown up. Whenever I ask my sister to spend time with me, I feel disappointed, and she wants to do things that are different from me. What do I do? So this now addresses how to think about this in a self-reflective way, how to introspect into the source of where this challenge comes from. Why do you feel unimportant? Let's move on to the next section. Okay, now I hand it over to Dr. Prema Kodanraman to talk about women's issues.
Issue every year. Women are diagnosed with anxiety and depression twice as men. 25.7% of young women report having self-harming at some point. If you look at here from 2008 to 2022, the incidence of mental illness among women is increasing. It's pretty alarming. Of social media on beauty concepts and appearance leads to eating disorder, low self-esteem, self-denial, and self-hatred. Discrimination and gender inequality, experience of sexism, workplace discrimination, and the gender pay gap can lead to chronic stress. Antidepressant, anti-anxiety medications, mood stabilizers, and antipsychotic. There are 70 different medications available now. Usually medications change brain chemistry and with many side effects, makes it hard to be compliant. Many patients either they use medications, cannot be compliant and quit, or they become more and more dependent. So many of these current treatments primarily focus on symptom management rather than addressing the underlying causes at different levels. In many parts of the world, access to mental health are very limited because it's very expensive. And social stigma around mental illnesses also prevent people to seek the treatment. The second one by His Divine Holiness, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam, his presidential address on November 7th, 2021, very powerful words about women. Women, by their very DNA, have the capacity and groundedness to hold an policies are mapped to the Manuvati Dharma Shastra, and Swamiji revived matrilineal society to empower women here. So the political empowerment, Paramashiva declares in Atharva Veda, women should take part in mother worship. The matrilineal society that used to exist in ancient Hindu nations. It's very important to know in KAILASA, women are worshipped and revered and have a secure sexual harassment-free ecosystem due to its zero tolerance policy against sexual harassment and exploitation. And it creates the most safest environment for women on planet Earth. At social prominence, Swamiji has worked tirelessly for gender equality, not only in the economic society, but also in the spiritual and religious realm. The Sannyas Sampradaya, the monastic male child and women to empower them. And Nityananda's Women Foundation, it helps Indigenous women to become again to get financial freedom and emotional support. EN Pregnancy is a great program where it supports pregnant women for having a painless delivery and a blissful birthing experience. The next slide.
Only feminine.
Yeah, I think it's a video to be played. Let's hear from Swamiji, his powerful message and a description of a woman by him.
Unfortunately, see, if it was handed over to women, it would have been completely family-based civilization. So naturally, everybody would have had their basic needs. All the basic needs would have been supplied to the whole world.
Multi-dimensional level, and KAILASA is a model infrastructure not only empowering women at all levels and bringing the best within them, like leadership, stability, powerfulness, and divinity. And from my personal empowerment of women, we do get powerful life, whatever you are, wherever you are, to lead a very powerful, healthy life. So for all women, mothers, homemakers, anyone, everyone, get empowered with KAILASA ecosystem created by His Divine Holiness, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Paramahamsa Nityananda. And it's a great coincidence that Navaratri festival is coming. It's an annual Hindu festival. We celebrate Divine Mother Energy for 9 nights. And I do pray to Ma Parashakti and Divine Mother Energy to bless all women all over the world.
Listen to this sacred secret. Listen. Initially, when you put this blurted out, vomited by your immature mind, listen, pen down. Do completion 2-3 times. Sit with mirror. Actually, I tell you, if you sit with mirror and chant Mahavagya and do completion, you will see me in the mirror. Then all your patterns are complete. Till you see me in the mirror, do completion with me appear in the mirror and make you complete and make you manifest powers. When I say, I mean. Just sit in front of the mirror and declare simple integrity to me. Start chanting Mahavagya and remember this powerful cognition, today's cognition. You will see in your pure inner space and in the mirror me appearing.
Now we invite Dr. Patel to come talk about children and mental health issues.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sailis, among 15 to 29-year-olds, and 296 million people globally. Deaths were attributed to drug use. Can we have next slide? So here are some of the unique challenges for children, which includes physical, emotional. On the previous slide, in Hindu education system, basic tools to awaken knowledge are taught. And other consciousness-based approaches, which were discussed earlier, practiced on a regular basis, including yoga, meditation. Case studies done on students at Nityananda Gurukul, where Hindu education system is integrated with conventional educational. Here is the result of whole brain activation studies for which Bender Gestalt test was performed. This test assesses visual motor skills, development, neurological functioning, and level of whole brain activation. This test is divided in 2 phases. Copy phase, students are first fell into category of genius and very high superior intelligence, IQ score of 120 and above. So it shows very impressive numbers. Next category, intellectual maturity compared to exact evidence, but policies to change and integrate this education into conventional curriculum would be a good sustainable development. Okay, I hand over to next speaker.
Really, many of their goals would be achieved by adopting this lifestyle. At NHU, the Nichinanda Hindu University, we aspire to be a world's leader in the study of mental health, of enlightenment, and of superconsciousness. And we very sincerely and formally and informally invite anyone who's interested in researching this possibility, this phenomena that I think is available here in ways it's not been described otherwise. We invite you to collaborate with us to participate in research. Of course, we would appreciate funding. As you can see, there's been remarkable research finding origin. So we invite policymakers, we invite academicians and other politicians, anyone to contact us to see how we can bring this to the world to attain and achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goals and bring higher possibilities of mental health and overall life and potential to the global community. So with that, thank you so much for everyone who came. If you're able,
air flow, thought flow, you have something called energy flow continuously happening in you. In this energy circulation, energy flow, if there is a disturbance in some part, for example, liver, kidney, or heart, intestine, at some part, if there is a disturbance,
every individual that helps complete the energy circuit. How does Kundalini energy reach different parts of the body? Let us take the example of a water tank. A water tank is a structure which stores pedants to energy flow forward, and it results in disease in that particular organ. The Kundalini energy in our body is like the water in the water tank. Kriyas are powerful tools which help to remove the energy blockage and restore the energy flow. When the body is aligned in certain postures during Kriyas, the energy block is removed. Once the block is removed, the Kumbhaka pumps in the Kundalini energy just as the water gets pumped in to the pipeline once the block is removed. When the
Principle on which Kriya works.
Kriyas are a unique combination of asanas, pranayamas, and kumbhakas, wherein they are more effective and the individual asana energy imbalance, and which results in healing diseases. Kriyas help to heal the body, experience extraordinary powers, and to have spiritual experience in the body.
These Kriyas are my unique contributions to the world. The Kriyas have been discoveries of modern day gymming and weightlifting. So all these 7 put together, I work on your body and mind, creating yogic body and Vedic mind. Power, stamina.
3 steps. It actually builds on top of what we did before, right? Earlier we learned how to do Nadi Shodhana, which is breathe in through one nostril, breathe out through the other nostril, breathe in through that nostril and breathe out. So that's one thing we learned. We're going to do that first. Then the second step is you sit in a special posture. Do we have the ping with your knees drawn in and your heels touching as close to your body as possible? You just have to look ahead. That's the posture. Peter will show the picture. That's the second step. In that posture, you just hum intensely. And the humming is something I already shared with you before. And the third step is, and then breathe in again through your right and breathe out through the left. This is one cycle. Do this cycle for 21 times. Let's start with that. That's the step 1. Step 2 is this picture. Sit like this picture, holding your knees. For a few minutes. You can play the music too, Peter. Thanks. When you unclutch from your thoughts, you will start focusing more on the music and the sound outside of you. Unclutch from that also. Open your eyes slowly. Great. Thank you all. I really appreciate all of you for coming. Peter, I hand it over to you to wrap up.
Yes, thank you so much, Mukta, for your beautiful job, and thank you to everyone who made it this long. We really appreciate you coming. And again, just a last invitation for people to join the Paramashivaham program or contact us at Nityananda Hindu University about